Hello everyone. Welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. WWE superstar Seth Rollins got Paul Heyman on his side on the first night of WrestleMania 41. The Wiseman pretended to go back to Roman Reigns by low-blowing CM Punk and handing him a steel chair. Moments later, however, the Hall of Famer low-blowed the OTC as well, handing the chair to Rollins, who used it to win the triple threat match. Now that Heyman and the Visionary have formed a heel alliance, here are 5 wrestlers who could join them. Logan Paul is one of the most opportunistic wrestlers on the company's roster right now. Shortly after the 2025 Elimination Chamber Premium Live event, the former United States champion offered his soul for sale to The Rock. So far, however, the Maverick hasn't heard back from the final boss. Now that Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman have emerged as another prominent force, he could try to join them. Notably, Logan Paul eliminated CM Punk from the 2025 Men's Royal Rumble match seconds after he eliminated Roman Reigns and the Visionary. This could give him an advantage in the eyes of the architect who hates the Second City Saint. This week's episode of WWE SmackDown saw Seth Rollins deliver an in-ring promo where he threw flack at Roman Reigns and CM Punk. The Revolutionary fired back at fans chanting Punk's name, saying that while they chanted for his return, he actually chose to make a wrestling comeback not to WWE, but rather to AEW. Moreover, after burning his bridges there, he only came to WWE for a bigger paycheck. While the Visionary accused the straight-edge superstar of faking his care for the fans and pro wrestling, he deemed Reigns as an even worse individual who didn't even care to pretend. Attacking the OTC for his limited schedule, the architect noted that the tribal chief only showed up when things were convenient for him. Now that Seth Rollins has conquered both his enemies and saved the future of pro wrestling, he could call on his wife, Becky Lynch, to further help him in his pursuits in the Stamford-based promotion. The man hasn't been seen in WWE since May 2024, and while she reportedly signed a new contract around January 2025, she has yet to make her return. However, she was seen with the Visionary at the 2025 Hall of Fame ceremony. Thus, Lynch might make a comeback soon and take care of the women's division for her real-life husband. Back in 2019, Team Raw lost to Team SmackDown in the War Games match at Survivor Series. Following this, Seth Rollins took it upon himself to correct and strengthen the red-branded roster. He proceeded to call himself the Monday Night Messiah and recruited Authors of Pain as his henchmen. Now that the architect wants to be the Messiah for pro wrestling again, he could recruit Austin Theory and Grayson Waller as his new henchmen. The duo of A-Town Down Under is a one-time WWE Tag Team Champion, and their heel personas could help the Visionary use them to ensure the other superstars bend to his will. Braun Breaker is the reigning Intercontinental Champion who has a knack for nagging Adam Pearce for stronger opponents. The Dog of WWE had replaced Brock Lesnar at the 2024 Royal Rumble, and according to most fans, performed just as dominantly. The former Wolf Dogs member is known for being a force of nature just like the Beast incarnate, and has single-handedly taken out the Judgment Day multiple times. Since Braun Breaker is also craving challenges, Seth Rollins could offer him to join his cause. Thus, the IC champion could become the latest Paul Heyman guy on the roster, and Rollins would have the brawn to go alongside his brains. It would be interesting to see what this newfound alliance between Paul Heyman and Seth Rollins has in store for the fans. WrestleMania 41 didn't just deliver jaw-dropping matches and iconic moments. It may have quietly planted the seeds for WWE's next major power shift. After a hard-fought battle against CM Punk, Seth Rollins walked away victorious, but not unchanged. As he stood tall, bloodied and bruised, one figure emerged from the shadows to raise his arm in victory: Paul Heyman. It was a surreal sight. Heyman, the same mastermind who managed Brock Lesnar and guided Roman Reigns through the most dominant championship reign in modern WWE history, now had his eyes on Seth freaking Rollins. And while neither man said a word, the message was loud and clear. Something new is coming, and it's going to be dangerous. But if Heyman is aligning with Seth Rollins, you can bet this isn't going to be a two-man show. If there's one thing Heyman excels at, It's building dynasties. And that leads us to one question. Who could join this new alliance of calculated chaos? Here are 5 WWE superstars who make the most sense and could create one of the most powerful factions WWE has seen in years. 1. Braun Breaker, the Wrecking Ball. Why it works. Seth Rollins brings the charisma. Heyman brings the brains. Braun Breaker brings the destruction. Breaker has already made waves on the main roster with his explosive power, unmatched intensity, and undeniable star presence. But what he lacks right now is direction. Aligning with Rollins and Heyman would give him a narrative foundation and protect him from overexposure too fast. Heyman has a history of guiding raw talent, just ask Lesnar, and Rollins could become the mentor that molds Breaker into a methodical killer rather than just a blunt force weapon. Imagine this. Breaker destroys a top babyface like Sami Zayn while Rollins watches, smirking, as Heyman yells from ringside. This is the future. 2. Carmelo Hayes, the swagger. Why it works. Rollins has style. Carmelo has flair. Together, they're untouchable. Hayes, fresh off a standout WrestleMania debut, oozes confidence and athleticism. But what he needs next is a storyline that elevates him beyond cool new guy. Being handpicked by Rollins and Heyman would give him that rocket fuel. Melo doesn't miss, but under Heyman's guidance, he wouldn't just hit shots. He'd run the court. The chemistry between Hayes and Rollins could redefine what a modern faction looks like. Less dominance by force, and more swagger by strategy. Imagine this. A backstage segment where Rollins and Heyman walk up to Hayes mid-interview. Rollins grins and says, "We've been watching. You're one of us." 3. Shayna Baszler, the submission assassin. Why it works. A faction that only focuses on male stars. That's old school. Rollins' vision, especially with Heyman behind the curtain, should be forward-thinking, and Shayna Baszler fits that bill perfectly. Baszler has long been one of the most legitimate threats in WWE, but has often lacked consistent booking. An alliance with Rollins and Heyman would give her the platform she deserves. Plus, imagine the synergy. Rollins as the cerebral architect, Shayna as the cold-blooded enforcer. And with Rhea Ripley's future uncertain after recent injuries, the women's division could be wide open for a force like Shayna to rise. Imagine this. Baszler taps out a rising star, stares down the camera, and Heyman whispers off screen. That's what domination looks like. 4. J.D. McDonough, the sleeper pick. Why it works. Every great faction has that wild card, the unpredictable technician who can win any match and stab you in the back 5 seconds later. J.D. McDonough is that guy. Currently tangled in Judgment Day drama, McDonough could be the first to defect, tired of always being second fiddle to Finn Balor and Damian Priest. What better revenge than to join Rollins, a man who knows betrayal like no other, and serve as the chaotic middleman in a new regime. Heyman would relish managing a twisted mind like JD's, and Rollins would know how to weaponize him. Imagine this. JD helps Rollins win a title match by distraction, then slithers out of the crowd with a slow, villainous grin. 5. Ilja Dragunov, the Warrior. Why it works. On paper, Dragunov doesn't seem like the kind of wrestler who'd align with a flashy, manipulative duo like Rollins and Heyman. But that's exactly why it would work. Dragunov's raw intensity and moral fire would create a magnetic tension in the faction. Imagine Rollins manipulating him with promises of bigger stages and greater purposes, while Heyman fuels his fire with ideas of being the true heir to greatness. Plus, imagine the promos. Heyman painting Dragunov as a righteous madman, wrestling's last honest warrior, now weaponized. Imagine this. Dragunov, bloodied after a brutal match, lets Heyman raise his hand. For a moment, he hesitates. Then he nods, and the arena erupts in shock. Final thoughts. A new era of influence. If Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman are truly forming an alliance post-WrestleMania 41, it's not just a storyline, it's a signal. a signal that WWE is preparing to launch a faction built not only on dominance, but on influence. A group that doesn't just beat you in the ring, but outmaneuvers you in every way possible. Brains, brawn, bravado. With Heyman pulling the strings and Rollins leading the charge, this new power structure could rewrite the future of WWE. All that's left now is to watch and see who dares to join them. Let me know if you'd like a version of this article turned into a promo for Raw, or if you'd like mock segments showing how each star would be recruited.